CytoDyn, again, is our final presenter today. The stock symbol is CYDY, and the CEO is Dr. Nader Pourhassan. Many of you who are subscribers to the Wall Street Reporter have been, following CytoDyn since, we first interviewed Nader back in January. And, what I find most compelling about this biotech story is that the company, has a game-changing therapy for HIV, which finished, its phase 3 and is now expecting to receive FDA approval, which is imminent. So potentially they can hit the market next year, start generating significant revenues, and they're targeting really a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. So the revenues are, looks like they're around the corner here. So this is not one of these, biotech stories which, is revenues are, decades away. On top of the near-term revenue potential, CytoDyn also has a pipeline of drugs targeting cancers, and Nader will get into more of that in the presentation. So enough about what I have to say. Let's go directly to the source and hear about this exciting story. So please welcome Dr. Nader Pourhassan.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate it and great to be here. The product that we have is called leronlimab Pro 140. The last presenter presented a very beautiful technology that I'm also excited about that. But in the world of health space, drug development, FDA recognizes that 1 out of 5,000 drugs make it to approval. Now, just keep in mind that if you make it to the approval, you raise money to get this drug, whatever drug you're working on, to get it to the approval. If it gets approval, all the shareholders going to rip the harvest big time because your stock will go to multiple. And that's the way it works in the world of biotech. The stock will not do anything till you do show substantial progress in your drug development. So with that, our product is Pro 140 in the literature, but recently the name is now leronlimab. It's had indication in the world of HIV, cancer, NASH, GVHD, and I will be talking about that as we go forward. Now, my next slide talks about that everything we say here is forward-looking statements, and the third slide that I'm on is our CytoDyn overview. It's amazing when I present this story, I get excited more than anybody myself because the fact that in the biotech world, when you're a public company, you have FDA communication. So whatever you put out, if the FDA sees there's something a little bit off, they immediately shut you down. They call you, they put you on hold. So whatever I'm presenting here, it's the stuff that we didn't make up. It's FDA has the communication and it's all backed up by that. And we talk in our press releases about all of these. The reason I'm saying all of this is because the story just seems to be way too good to be true, and Seeking Alpha actually talk about that, and we had to talk with the reporter, and everybody gets amazed when they look underneath the hood with this company. So in regard to HIV, our combination therapy is our first approval going forward, and as Jack indicated, we are going to have our hopefully final application submitted to FDA for final approval, which is a BLA, Biologic License Application, by the end of September. Now, what that means is you have passed all the hurdles, phase 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, and 3, and pivotal trial. We passed that, and our responders, it was great. Now, in this world of HIV, patients already have good drugs out there. So you're going to have something that helps patients who cannot take drugs as easily, or they don't have those options, they're resistant. And combination therapy, our product, saved some lives in our trial perhaps because they were resistant to most of the drugs out there. But the news that we made, big time news, is about monotherapy when Dr. Oz actually asked me to go to their show, and celebrities started getting involved, celebrities that have HIV. The monotherapy showed that patient can, for the first time in their life, put away all their drugs, so they don't have to worry about taking drugs at the exact time every day for the rest of their life, and just enjoy sub-Q injection once a week. That means they will be finished with once a week treatment. And the patients who were able to use that, some of them have gone now 5 years without any standard of care. So that's why when I present this story, I say this is no longer a high risk, high reward company. This is a very low risk, as we have de-risked most of the stuff, as we have hit our primary endpoint and finished the trial, met with FDA, and going for our BLA submission for combination therapy, and monotherapy is in parallel being developed. As we went forward with this company, we realized that Pfizer CCR5 antagonist, which is what we are, CCR5 antagonist, our product is binds to CCR5. They had success with graft versus host disease, that they accidentally found out about the HIV product. So we did a small in vitro study, and since we had a lot of data out there for safety, FDA gave us phase 2 for another indication, graft versus host disease. We did the same thing with the triple-negative breast cancer, because we realized that there is published documents out there saying that CCR5 antagonists are the way of the future of new therapies in the world of cancer. Our, again, animal study was spectacular. FDA granted us phase 1B-2. We did the same thing with colon cancer. We just submitted the protocol. And we also have a prognostic test that we will talk about. But the list of things that's going on is really amazing. In regards to cancer, because we believe our product could stop the metastasis of cancer, the key opinion leaders urge us to check this for melanoma, pancreatic, prostate, lung, liver, and stomach cancer. And those animal studies are going forward also. So the next slide, I just want to show you when we started with this product, we compare our product with standard of care, see how much better are we, what benefits are there with this product. At the early stage, in about 2006, FDA had looked at the data at that time and gave this product fast-track designation with fast-track designation with accelerated approval possible. NIH had given it $28 million worth of grant. The reason for those excitement was with this product, leronlimab, there was advantages in the area of side effect, toxicity, resistance, and compliance. Side effect, as of now, we have over 800 patients use this product, and 0 serious adverse event related to leronlimab has been found. This is incredible results, by the way. If you're familiar with this space, you don't find a product like that. Toxicity, negligible. Resistance, we have patients who have gone 5 years with 0 resistance. If you give a patient in HIV world any product by itself without combining it, they build resistance very quickly, about 6 months or so. Compliance, taking pills, 3-4 pills in exact time every day, it's very difficult. And taking an injection sub-Q underneath the skin, like diabetes do many times in a week, they can just do this once a week, probably 2 minutes a week, and they're done. So what happened with our phase 3? Why are we so excited that this phase 3 was such a great result? We had a great result. Our p-value was 0.0032, and our trial ended up having 81% of these patients who have very limited options left with the current standard of care. 81% end up having suppressed viral load. Some of them, first time in 20 years, they had suppressed viral load. The last product approved for that population had 43% suppressed viral load. So we all practically doubled that. Again, no report of serious adverse events, which is very important to patients and FDA going forward. BLA, biologic license application, final application for final approval, 1/3 was already submitted because FDA gave us rolling review submission. That means the FDA is reviewing that. And the other 2/3 will be hopefully by the end of September. Now, what's the value of this product? Well, if you look at the columns that I have put on this slide, 2-class resistance is with the limited treatment option, or 3-class resistance can take this product once it's approved if the patient is R5. There's a test for that to check that the strain is R5. Usually 70% of all HIV patients have R5 strain of HIV. So the next slide shows that in the first 18 months that we get to the market, we're going to sell the product for the same price that they're selling another antibody in that space. That antibody, patients have to go to hospital for IV, 1 hour IV, or this self-injectable at home. And they're selling for $118,000 for the first 18 months or so, we will sell at $120,000 per year per patient. But going forward, post 18 months, we could drop the price substantially as we will be manufacturing it at one of the largest biologic manufacturing who have just granted us an agreement that I will be talking about that. So as you can see in this slide, the revenue will be significant going forward. The agreement that I'm talking about is in this slide. I did go to South Korea to sign this agreement with the CEO of Samsung Biologics. They are going to produce quite a bit of product. In overall, the agreement allows us to have $7 billion worth of product. That $7 billion is evaluated at $120,000 per year per patient. But the first $1 billion will not be charged to us till later, which is very important to a small company like us. We do not want to raise funds for that at this time. So we were very happy to be able to get granted deferred payment, which is something Samsung has not given it to other customers according to them. So the last slide in HIV is the responders rate to FDA. They wanted our monotherapy where patient can put away all the standards of care. They wanted us to have a higher responders rate than what we had before when we went to FDA. And in this slide, we show that it is 525 milligram after 31 weeks duration average. The patients, 95% had suppressed viral load post 10 weeks. We have to evaluate them in the first 10 weeks of monotherapy to find out the responders. So I said at the very beginning that this product had multiple indications potentially. One of them was GVHD, and we said that Pfizer accidentally found out that their product had indications. In this slide, you can see that when we did our in vitro study for graft versus host disease to see if leronlimab has any indication in that space, we immediately gave the in vitro result that was positive to FDA, and they gave us a phase 2. We were very happy about that because phase 2 costs about $100 million from scratch to to get to that point from discovery to phase 2, and we did it with $15,000 or $20,000. Now we asked FDA for orphan drug designation. They said you don't have any animal study. Why don't you take 32 mice, group them in A and B as you see in the slide, and they said if these mice are injected with human bone marrow, they're all going to die. But if you give it Pro 140 leronlimab, and some of them stay alive, then we will give you orphan drug designation. 100% of the mice who got leronlimab stayed alive after receiving human bone marrow injections. And the left slide, you can see clearly the red line, the weight of the mice was going up, but then the blue line, they were going down. On the right side is a shocking result. The red line, no mice died, but the blue line, all the mice who did not receive leronlimab died. We published these findings in a peer-reviewed journal and have many interest parties wanting to have us go present in their conferences. But the next slide is even more exciting. The next slide shows that the animal study indicated, the middle row, that if you inject the mice with a lot of metastasis cells, the leronlimab stops metastasis. The very first row shows the mice will die, but the second row show that the mice went 7 weeks, which is equivalent to 70 years of human life, and 70 months of human life. So this was very interesting finding, and when we went to 10 weeks, which is equivalent to 10 years of human life with the leronlimab, no metastasis. We submitted those data to the FDA. Again, we got triple-negative breast cancer phase 2, and the result of mice was strong enough, and we received fast-track designation for this indication. So what that means that with all the cancer indication, perhaps we can go ahead and explore them, because if metastasis is stopped, that means the tumor cell that has cancer, only the one that have CCR5 on it can have a signal that would allow them to get out of this cancer tumor and go somewhere else and metastasize and home in the liver, lung, or wherever. So if we stop that, that means we stop metastasis, which means we can have indication in many of the cancers. That's why we now have triple-negative breast cancer and colon cancer phase 2 submitted to the FDA. The first one we're granted to go forward with it, but colon cancer, the protocol was just submitted, and we're waiting for FDA to give us green light for that. So there are quite a bit of milestones ahead of us. Triple-negative breast cancer, we should be injecting the first patient in a naive setting. We already injected the first patient who was on a third-line therapy on the expanded access. FDA requires us to allow terminal patients have this product, so we are giving it to those who request through the our website. We have for terminal patients. BLA is supposed to be in the end of September, and initiating a first pivotal trial for monotherapy. The first monotherapy pivotal trial for the world of HIV could happen this year, as we're meeting with the FDA to finalize our protocol. Graft versus host disease, we hope to inject the first patient in September and have some interim result this year. And prognostic test for prostate, which is completely a different thing. It's a diagnostic that we are going forward to meet with FDA and see if we can get approval for using that. Triple-negative breast cancer interim results will be very exciting, because if we do stop the metastasis and demonstrate that in a 6-month period, we could get approval with as little as 5 to 10 patients data, because this population is a deadly population. And we also are, we have already submitted, as I said, the protocol for colon cancer and IND for that. And large pharma discussion is going on right now. We do have, as we have said to the public, non-binding term sheet from commercialization companies who want to commercialize the first $250 million of the product by themselves. So we hope to have that happen this year. So we believe we are very, very close to the inflection point that all the biotech companies live for that day, and hitting our primary endpoint and being able to go in front of FDA for the final application to be approved is a unique opportunity, and we have that. So with that, I will go to any questions that you might have.
Nader, thank you. That was great. Looks like we have a bunch of questions, so hopefully you'll have an opportunity to answer them. Okay, so we'll first start off with a question that came in last night from Seth. He asks, CytoDyn's commercialization plan for leronlimab? ? I guess, what's your commercialization plan? And also, financing plan until revenues begin? ?
Yeah, absolutely. So in regard to commercialization, that's a whole different set of that you have to have. But there are very large organizations like Syneos Health that help the big pharmas to launch their product into the market when they get approved. We already have engaged with Syneos, and we got our go-alone commercialization plan where we can actually take it to the market ourselves, because we're so close to that point. And we are going to put that plan actually in our website, so everybody can see how we are planning to accomplish that. As we said, we do have non-binding term sheet where the other commercialization companies want to sell the product, and they will take care of all the all the costs associated with commercialization to launching a product. So we are working with many other avenues, but we are able to put together infrastructure ourselves and start the sales ourselves if we have to. Again, it will cost quite a bit of funding, but we believe our stock will be at a whole different level at that time. In regards to financing, in the last 5 years, we took this product from phase 2 all the way to the point that we are with many potential indications now. And usually FDA has indicated it takes about $1 billion to $1.5 billion to get a product to the market. We have done that with $200 million, and we are able to raise that much money starting from phase 2. So raising more funds right now, maybe another 15-20 million to just get to the finish line of revenue, hopefully, is not any concern of us. We have a very strong investment banking that have done a tremendous job for us. So if we have to raise a little bit more money and be diluted a little bit more, all of our shareholders for that in order to get to the finish line.
Okay, so the next question, it looks like we have a few questions from Kurtzen. So Kurtzen asks, are you prepared for potential rapid rollout of sales if FDA approval comes?
Yes, absolutely. So the Syneos plan that we have received is very strong. I mean, it has a detailed steps of how to go forward and what to do. However, as we said, we believe we will be using the infrastructure of other commercialization companies who are well suited and ready to go forward. We have two of them that we are engaging right now. They have come to us and asked us to sign a term sheet for exclusive sales with them. So we will be evaluating all of those, and I'm sure as soon as we announce one of those, it will be very beneficial to our shareholders, coming to shareholder value.
Okay, a few more questions from Kurtzen here. So he asks, other than the US FDA, are there any other countries where approval is in process?
So that's a very good question. We will be able to get EU approval very quickly right afterward, but we already announced that one of the huge findings that came out just a few months ago from Dr. Jonas Sasha after a year of investigating leronlimab is that this product probably have tremendous potential for cure for certain patients in HIV and for prevention of HIV. So he sent his results to in a confidential manner to Thai Red Cross, where they have a connection with the largest prevention center, and they immediately wanted to do a study with us. And Dr. Sasha got fundings for this study, 50 patient prevention in Thailand, and we signed a memorandum of understanding. So obviously we will be getting approval in Thailand also if that goes forward. And Dr. Jonas Sasha hopefully will be announcing his findings in a published paper by the end of the year, which we believe will bring major media attention to our company.
Okay, next question comes in from Ronald. So Ronald asks, okay, I don't know if I can use this name here. Okay, so as far as I know, it's a celebrity name, has been on leronlimab Pro 140 as a monotherapy against HIV for multiple years now. He seems to be doing great. Have you contacted him recently, asking him to testify about how great he's doing because of leronlimab Pro 140?
So the question is, have I contacted this gentleman or the lady? I don't know.
I think you were on the Dr. Oz show with the.
Oh, I see. So yeah, so we do not talk about any patient unless they sign a consent form and allow us to talk about their condition. If they don't, which no patient does, then we can only repeat what the celebrities themselves that use this product talk about in the public. For example, when Charlie Sheen spoke about that in The View, and he talked about how great he felt, we repeated that. When he stopped talking about it, then we stopped talking about it. No patients, we cannot talk about any of the patients unless they first go public and say something, and we can only repeat those. Because this is a clinical trial.
Okay, so next question again from Ronald. He asks, recently a lady with metastatic triple-negative breast cancer did get leronlimab as a treatment. Will the market be informed about how she's reacting to leronlimab, the status of her CTC? If so, when do you expect the market to inform?
So that's a very good question. The CTC that this person is talking about, obviously that this person is educated about that. It's called circulating tumor cell. So if you have a tumor, cancer cell, and the cells are going to travel through your bloodstream to go to your lung or to the liver to metastasize there, which would then kill the patient, it has to go through the bloodstream. So if you're able to measure those tumors that are in the bloodstream, that's just a blood test, which Dr. Massimo Cristofanilli talked to FDA, and they use this as a secondary endpoint now. Dr. Massimo Cristofanilli is our principal investigator for this trial, but we are enrolling only naive population who just got triple-negative breast cancer or were taken care of and the cancer came back. Otherwise, we cannot enroll second or third or fourth line therapy because they are terminal patients. However, FDA has asked us to allow terminal patients to be enrolled. So we filed an IND for emergency IND for this one patient, and we enrolled them into the triple-negative breast cancer expanded access. Now, we are measuring CTC, but it will take a month or two before we are able to compare at least two different CTC point time, or 3-4 of them at least, and be able to then talk about it.
Okay, we have about 5 more questions. I hope you have time. Okay, so Ronald asks again, are you still in talks regarding out-licensing, partnering regarding the prognostic cancer test?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, after this call, I'm supposed to be on another call, because on August 28th, we do have a meeting with FDA. There are interested parties to develop this together. If we are able to, have the negotiation done with them where we are able to partner with them, then we go forward with them. Otherwise, we will have to figure out a plan for ourselves to go forward. So we are still working with them. Nothing has slowed down on that in that regard. So that's going forward, and I'm hoping to talk about that hopefully after August 28th FDA meeting.
Okay. Another question from Kurtzson. What is your current runway with financing on hand? Any expectations to raise equity financing?
So we do need maybe another $10 million or so to get past BLA submission and perhaps get to the end of the year. Maybe 15 million or so would get us to the end of the year. So we want to be very cautious here. Our stock has been taken beating. I mean, when you raise $200 million in 4 or 5 years in the OTC market, it's amazing that you could sell almost 100 million shares a year on OTC. Our volume has been very high. So we want to be very careful, because the stock has taken a lot of beating, and because we're very, very close to some major inflection point, in my opinion. And now when that happens, in a month or 2 months or by the end of the year, we don't know. So we want to defer all the fundraising as much as possible. We will do small fundraising here and there, and we are engaged always, trying to look at opportunities for small amount just to take us to the next level and hopefully see that big jump on the stock, and then we can bring more funding.
Okay. Next question comes in from Paul. Paul asks, are there any concerns about your non-dilutive cash requirements to get through the BLA?
So when you say, are there any concern about non-dilutive? The non-dilutive, we just did a tender offer, which we offer our warrant holders to exercise their warrants and give them a little bit more shares. We raised $15 million, and we were given out maybe about 17, 18 million new shares. So it was the lowest dilution we ever had any of our raise. So that 50 million really got us to the point where we are very, very close now to being able to finish the year perhaps with a little bit more raise. We were hoping to raise 30 at that time with tender offer, but we did get 15, not 30. We are working with non-dilutive fundraising right now, and we are hoping to be able to announce some of those very soon. But we want to get the best deal. We don't want to, be hasty and rush to anything. I mean, we do have time on our side because the approval is coming, and end of submitting the BLA is coming. These are major milestones that any biotech company will spend 10, 20 years and billions of dollars just to get to this point. And we're almost there. So we want to be very cautious and evaluate every avenue very carefully.
Okay. Let's see. I think that was the last question. Maybe we'll see. And if anybody has any questions, it's a last chance to get it in. Okay, Nader, I think that was it for the questions. There's a lot of questions today. Again, Nader, thank you. And I want to thank everybody who's on the call today and the conference today for joining us. We had some really great companies, and we look forward to having you on board for our next event. Thank you again for everybody.